Hey Arnie, we're here to see your gym and fridge.
What do you want?
Arnold Schwarzenegger is a bona fide global icon, a box office powerhouse, world-class bodybuilding athlete, and former governor of California. The Austrian oak has excelled in every industry in which he has participated, and is a true immigrant success story. No single individual represents the American dream more than Schwarzenegger, and today we learn how he got there.
We have, of course, the Radler. Most people don't know that, but it's my secret protein drink. Don't tell anyone, okay? This is between us. We have here fruits, we have vegetables. We have one of my favorite things that when it gets hot, and also for muscle soreness and sometimes bone soreness, put a little bit of that in there. And do it always with clean hands. Raw egg that we put in there. Well, actually, I like to put in the whole egg.
Fond of athletics as a young boy in his native Austria, Schwarzenegger began lifting weights in the early 60s. The sport would make him an international phenomenon. In 1967, at just 20 years old, he became the youngest Mr. Universe in history. Moving to the U.S. the following year, he began training at the world-famous Gold Gym in Venice, California, under IFBB co-founder Joe Weider. 2 years later, Schwarzenegger won his first of 7 Mr. Olympia titles. He met WWE megastar Bruno Sammartino at Mr. Olympia, and the two became lifelong friends. The Arnold Classic, an annual bodybuilding competition, recognizes Schwarzenegger's iconic career in the sport. A world-renowned athlete, film powerhouse, and politician, Arnold Schwarzenegger has achieved the true American dream, and on the night before WrestleMania 31, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in San Jose, California. What drove him, you ask? His domination drive and unwavering focus have placed him in the limelight for decades. His mainstay in life has been hunger, hunger for success, hunger for making his mark, hunger for being seen and heard and to have an effect. Undoubtedly, Arnie's hunger drove him to making his mark and leaving his footprints on the world, setting his sights further and ticking all the boxes on his bucket list. It's clear to see that Arnold's drive and intense focus is hard to match, and we have yet to see a son of a gun worthy enough of fitting them. Scrutiny reveals that Arnold's prolific bodybuilding career was merely a stepping stone to the heights of glory he achieved later on in life. Which lessons did he learn during his bodybuilding career that molded him into the go-getter he turned out to be? The building blocks were always there in his personality. His training as a bodybuilding athlete not only whipped him into shape physically, but also honed his habits in the right direction. Arnold's approach to bodybuilding was as simple as it was complex. To him, bodybuilding was not just lifting the weight and going through workouts with a simple ticking-the-box mentality. He had sharp focus on the mind-muscle connection and understood why and what he was doing as the key to building a top-tier physique. His mindfulness approach made him the greatest bodybuilder of all time. He looked at his physique as if it were a sculpture in order to achieve the size, symmetry, and proportions he needed, resulting in many Mr. Olympia wins during the golden era of bodybuilding. The bodybuilder who treats his physique like a piece of art knows his total daily energy expenditure. Based on this, a surplus can be implemented to gain weight and pack on additional muscle mass, or this number can be reduced, putting him into a deficit in order to lose weight and reveal those shredded abs and roadmap vascularity. Time spent lifting in the gym creates the demand for muscles to grow, but without manipulating diet, specifically the numbers of calories consumed, the goal to a shredded body will remain a pipe dream. When it comes to building muscle mass, burning fat, and manipulating the appearance of physique in any manner at all, the key to success is understanding caloric manipulation, and Arnold was guided by the best professionals in his field. A lot of people think that the sport of bodybuilding peaked back in the 1970s and 80s, referring to this period as the golden era. During this time, bodybuilders were muscular and lean but still looked athletic. They had clearly defined waists and that classic V-shaped torso. Mass monsters were few and far between. There were no growth hormone guts, and it could be argued that the bodybuilders of yesteryear were healthier than those of today. Being bulky was not the goal of old-school bodybuilders. Compare the quad size of Arnold and Phil Heath. A big difference, right? Schwarzenegger was a product of that era, as a reference to the glory days of bodybuilding represented by the likes of him. Back in the golden era of bodybuilding, supplements were slim and eating was mostly real foods. So how did the bodybuilding stars of the golden era fuel their workouts and eat for muscle mass? Let's take a look. In most cases, they ate a lot of meat and other animal products. the goal being to build as much muscle as possible without getting fat or bloated. Why did they eat this way? Because it worked. The importance of protein was known back then. The majority of old-school bodybuilders considered beef and turkey as the obvious choice for protein. Some consumed fish and chicken, but used to cycle them all the while consuming just enough carbs to keep them fueled. The protein hunt for the 1970s was a big task. They used to consume cottage cheese, dry milk powders, fish powders, soya protein just to meet their daily protein needs. An evening snack of an old-school bodybuilder consisted of cottage cheese and a cheese omelet. The modern era snack has a protein drink with some fruit. Shakes seemed to be a convenient way to push protein, but it was a bit tougher then. Old-school bodybuilders stressed more on eating real foods. Golden era bodybuilders ate very similar diets to that prompted by Dr. Atkins and the modern-day carnivore crowd. Interestingly, most of these athletes ate only chicken and fish, believing red meat to be the cause of so many heart attacks that seem to plague these athletes. But the sage advice of the Goldies is still being followed today, although it has been tweaked slightly to fit in with modern guidelines. The general rule that you need to eat 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight is still followed by most serious athletes today, and preached as essential to maximal results. Over time, this recommendation has changed slightly to be 1 gram based on your ideal body weight, but it still holds true for most people looking to build muscle and stay lean. Protein powders is the linchpin of modern bodybuilders' diets, since the body uses protein like a builder uses bricks to shore up the trauma of training, or more specifically, the amino acids in protein. Old-school bodybuilders did not have access to such an array of protein powders. Yes, things like milk and egg protein powders existed, but they didn't taste very good and often caused severe stomach upsets. Hence, diet was looked to fix the potholes. The modern era has all that money can buy, or whatever your sponsorship can get for you. The current supplements range from pre-workout to post-workout, and from protein to nitric oxides to testosterone boosters. You name it, it's available. In the golden era, the supplement industry was minimal. Whey protein was a recent term, and research on developing new products was happening. There were multivitamins, though the supplement range was much less. Old-school bodybuilders totally relied on their food to reach nutrient goal. Old-school bodybuilders used to eat a lot of fats. They used to follow the ketosis diet, which is about eating more fat and fewer carbs so that the body burns fat for energy. Products like cottage cheese, cheese slices, milk cream, and high-fat milk were a mainstay of the golden era diet. Prior to the 1980s, supplement science and research was very limited. So were products that filled holes in golden era bodybuilders' diets. Supplements were limited then, and these athletes focused on whole foods, and supplements also derived from whole foods. Today's athletes have access to a veritable universe of superfoods and targeted nutrients, proven to improve results and speed recovery. This includes a wide array of superfoods like pine pollen, amino acids, peptides, and more. Golden era athletes supplemented their diet with other natural whole foods such as whole milk, desiccated liver capsules, and cod liver oil. There were few advancements in science to achieve results in weeks, so it was a constant growing process. High-intensity training with a good diet is still the key to success, but old-school bodybuilders had a physical training regimen much tougher than that of today. Those superheroes used to work out twice as hard and twice as much as their present-day counterparts. Physical training aspect of bodybuilding today is more specific in setting target areas, and the overwhelming use of supplements and protein enhancers has taken a huge load off of the modern-day bodybuilder. The golden era bodybuilding diet is still the standard when it comes to building muscle and focused on high protein consumption and controlled carbohydrate consumption. While the daily recommendations for protein intake have come down from that time period, protein is still believed to be the dietary key to building muscle and staying lean. Both ages have seen some greats, and it takes years of hard work and sacrifice to reach that level. There are now alternatives to whole food, but there is no alternative to hard work. That's all for this video, folks. We'll see you another time.